But although the pilot program is intended to accommodate up to 1,000 carriers and 3,000 enrolled apprentices at any given time, the initial participation data is just alarmingly underwhelming. At the time of the presentation from the FMCSA, only 21 carriers had been approved for participation, and 4 apprentices were in the program. 1, 2, 3, 4.
So what did Pete Buttigieg, the Secretary of Transportation, say at the Senate hearing yesterday discussing DOT's budget proposal for 2023? Well, let's start with the Under-21 Safe Driving Apprenticeship Pilot Program. That's a mouthful. Senator of Mississippi, Cindy Hyde-Smith, stressed the seriousness of the driver shortage. According to American Trucking Associations, this was back in 2019, the driver shortage may exceed 100,000 drivers by 2023 based on projected freight growth, industry retirements, and competition from other industries. This is like taking people from rail.
Okay, and one thing that another one I want to ask you about, because it's really important, there's such a driver shortage in the trucking industry. And last month, the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration provided my staff with participation data for the Safe Driver Apprenticeship Pilot Program, which I was really excited about because hopefully we can meet the needs of this. Boy, we learned a lot after COVID with the supply chains.
For her constituents in Mississippi, Senator Hyde-Smith noted that 18 to 20-year-olds can drive commercial loads all across the state of Mississippi, but not 1 mile further across the border to Memphis, Tennessee, a big place where they need to transport loads. But currently, 49 states and Washington, D.C. give commercial driver's licenses to people under 21 to drive commercial motor vehicles intrastate, but they cannot cross state lines. The 3-year pilot program was included in the infrastructure law and based on the Drive Safe Act that she co-sponsored. This new rigorous apprenticeship program is intended to take some of the best young CDL drivers and train them so they can cross state lines. The pilot program is intended to accommodate about 1,000 carriers and 3,000 apprenticeship drivers over 3 years. They're trying to collect data on seeing if they're safe drivers.
Well, FMCSA is hard at work launching this pilot. We're able to take applications beginning last summer, and as you noted, I think it's up to 22 motor carriers are approved. We got another 22 that have been approved by FMCSA and are just working through the process. So far, we would like to see, we agree, we'd like to see a higher level of participation.
Before an approved motor carrier can allow an apprentice to operate under the pilot program, FMCSA reviews the driver's safety performance history against its systems, PSP reports and others, and will issue an exemption for each young driver. However, after half a year, only 4 drivers are in the program and 22 carriers approved for the program since the summer of 2022 when they could first apply. It's crazy. Senator Hyde-Smith was direct and asked what DOT and FMCSA is doing to encourage participation. Secretary Buttigieg said, as of yesterday, an additional 22 carriers are approved and just working through the rest of the process before they can begin. That is just 44 carriers out of 1,000 available for the program. So far, there is no way this pilot program can collect important data on young, safe driver education for this long-haul driving. So what steps did Buttigieg say is being done to see higher participation?
And so some steps on that have included making information available to 1,500 carriers who meet the safety requirements. FMCSA did that some weeks ago. There's also a paid media campaign that took place in February that we're hoping will build interest, and we'll continue using social media and outreach to the high school graduating class of 2023 about this program.
These campaigns sound like they're trying to establish that trucking is a career these graduating students should look into, but they do not already have a CDL or commercial learner's permit. Unfortunately, these campaigns take time to see results as they have to stir interest in a trucking career, getting their commercial learner's permit, and then getting their state-issued CDL, and then gathering the intrastate safe driving history up before they qualify for the pilot program. On February 22nd, One approved carrier, Pitt, Ohio, noticed this problem as well and requested an exemption to ease the requirements from 18 to 20-year-olds with a CDL to just having a commercial learner's permit to drive interstate commercially. Yikes. These CLP holders would still need to meet all the remaining apprenticeship requirements as well as the existing regulatory requirements for CLP holders. Specifically, that there must always be a trainer in the cab during the training and interstate driving. If granted, Pitt, Ohio estimates that 25 CLP holders would operate under the exemption each year. It's still not that much. The comment period just ended, and we will see what the FMCSA decides. But Buttigieg stressed safety is key to the pilot program.
Any requirement that is in the program is for the purpose of safety, and safety will always be our first priority. But we are very interested in getting the level of participation that'll get us good data to see if we can continue in this direction without compromising safety.
He said this after Senator Hyde-Smith stressed that the major deterrent for carriers to join the program is inward-facing cameras and other strict rules which cost extra money or offer privacy concerns. She asked if the program can lessen these requirements. Buttigieg said any requirement in the program is for safety, so it sounds like he does not want to reduce any safety requirements for the pilot program, at least yet. With that said, let's run down what the requirements are for these young drivers in the pilot program. Young professional drivers must complete at least 400 hours of on-duty time and 240 hours of driving time, accompanied by an experienced driver in an automatic or automatic manual transmission truck with automatic emergency braking, forward-facing video cameras, and top speed limited to 65 miles per hour. The young drivers in the program are also not allowed to drive trucks with more than one trailer or carry hazardous materials. After that, until they turn 21, they will be able to drive by themselves, but under continuous monitoring by trucking companies, including monthly safety performance reports filed with FMCSA. Motor carriers who are interested in participating must complete an application for participation and submit monthly data on an apprentice's driver's activity, such as vehicle miles traveled, duty hours, driving hours, off-duty time or breaks, safety outcomes such as crashes, violations, and safety critical events, and any additional supporting information such as onboarding monitoring systems or investigative reports from previous crashes. This data is to be used to see if drivers are being safe on the road. In addition, carriers will be required to notify FMCSA within 24 hours of any injury or fatal crash involving an apprentice receiving an alcohol-related citation in any vehicle, an apprentice choosing to leave the pilot program, or an apprentice leaving the carrier, or an apprentice failing a random or post-crash drug and alcohol test. So what happens to these drivers after they turn 21? Can they find a good job? Will they find a good job? A recent research survey by ATRI was designed to answer this very question. The report says that while many in the industry support the expansion of interstate commercial driving for individuals under the age of 21, many carriers are not yet prepared to hire younger drivers. Why? This is because increased insurance costs represent a significant barrier to eventually hiring younger drivers. The report found that half of small fleets and 30% of large fleets cited this as a significant factor in their decision. The widely held belief that commercial drivers under the age of 25 cannot be insured is a myth, but it will be expensive. In most cases, self-insured mega fleets will be the one hiring these young drivers since they can afford this driver risk. If you plan to go through this program and you eventually want to start your own trucking business, we recommend driving safely to age 23 before starting your company. Make sure you save up to $100,000 to prepare for 6 months of your new business. Want to learn more about planning, starting, and succeeding as an owner-operator? Check out this playlist where we dive into everything you need to know. Now, back to insurance. While some in the trucking industry think that age is the bigger factor in determining driver risk, as it does in determining insurance rates for non-CDL drivers, a recent study found that experience in big rigs was the dominating factor. Experience. The data showed that for drivers with 7 months to 1 year of driving experience, crash rates were higher for drivers aged 55 years and older compared to younger counterparts. How about that? While government and industry association officials can address some of the concerns in the report, other concerns like insurance costs and technology costs depend on a carrier's need and willingness to invest in younger drivers. These costs can be significant, so carriers should take steps to understand younger drivers' work perspectives and best practices for integrating younger employees to optimize their outcomes at your workplace. If you are a carrier looking to hire younger drivers or be part of the pilot program, know that younger drivers want greater transparency and suggest making job postings more explicit about expectations or requirements and posting day in the life videos or other content to help convey a sense of what a job is like in trucking. There is a lot we discuss here. Let us know if you would hire a young CDL driver after completing this pilot program. If you are a teenager looking to get into the industry, let me know what your thoughts are, fears, concerns, anything. You can learn more with the links in the bio below. And always, stay safe out there.